Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Bahashim Rakakwadash. And of course, I want to say Shalom to Yakim Nakwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. Now, I had started this up just a minute ago. I probably went for 5 or 6, 7 minutes, but we had some technical difficulties in the beginning. Satan was messing with a bunch of shit. He had the audio kept messing up. It was glitching. I had some other glitch happen. So then that happened, and then on top of that, I didn't like the start off that I got on the video, so I just decided to restart it. But anyway, this is an Instagram video. So I had this maybe from about a day now, I think. And I saved it because it's ridiculous, and it's one of those videos. You're going to get angry about it. All right, you brothers and sisters are going to get angry about it, as I was angry about it. And so, yeah, we're going to basically just roll it, and then we're going to talk about it. So I got 4 scriptures here that I really want to touch on. And this is just, man, as you can see, it's titled The First Day of School. So we're going to see some little badass kids and their badass mother that's making them that way. So here you go.
Have y'all seen this video?
What'd you say?
Don't fuck with me.
Oh, shit. Walk. Attitude. Ooh, walk out. Ooh, attitude. Ooh, walk out.
She's getting a lot of backlash from that video, and rightfully so, because it's bad parenting. From the kids walking off with the attitude, throwing up the middle finger, cursing, and the most important part, them not having on their seatbelt in the backseat of the car. As a mother, this was her response to the backlash that she was getting for being a bad parent.
Are you ignoring the seatbelt comment? Because they didn't want to wear the seatbelt listening to Pooh Shiesty, bitch. When you listening to a gangster, you want to be a gangster. They don't want to be safety. They don't want to listen to Beethoven on the way to school and go back to sleep, bitch.
Those kids did not stand a chance to be successful the day the mother found out that she was pregnant with them, because she was not fit to be a mother to begin with. Here's another example of the type of mother that she is.
The bitch, I gotta make sure I get money. We hustle, we get too much money. I don't even know how much this is. Feds doing the sweet today.
Yeah, those kids are doomed. And as far as the father, no idea where he's at. Have y'all seen this video?
So there you go. There you go. So you see a bunch of little mini N-dubs, all right, or N-dubs in training, all right, and yeah, man, and it's just generational N-dubitry, all right. And those that don't know what N-dub is, it means ninja woman, all right, as self-deemed by the apostles of Great Millstone, right? And that's what happens. You have it's generational N-dubism, all right? And these little girls here, which are under the age of 12, so they are girls, okay? They're not teens, they're not women, they're not ladies. They are just little girls at this point, and they're being raised up in the wrong way. Okay, instead of being raised up in the right way, which you should be, all right, biblically, they're being raised up or trained up in the wrong way, and it's because their mom was trained up in the wrong way by her mom, and her mom was, it's that it really all started when the welfare really started rolling out, all right, and one of the things when they rolled it out in the hood was that you could not have a man in that house. They took the man out of the house because they knew if they took the man out of the house, it's going to collapse. All right, taking the man out of the house is like taking the foundation away from under a home. All right, it's going to last for a little bit, but ultimately there's going to be some shifts and some cracks, and it's going to all come crumbling down. And that's what they've done, and it's all part of that, the identity and the lineage and breeding and manufacturing of what they call a welfare queen. And that's what these women are primarily, okay? And it's not that being on welfare is a bad thing. I've been on welfare. Everybody's been on welfare pretty much that I know in some capacity. And the problem is when it comes to these single women that identify as not needing a man. They don't need any help. I'm a strong woman. I can do it myself. But yet they're using a system which isn't them helping themselves, And on top of that, it's still part of the system, but child support. Right? I don't need no man to help me. I can, or I don't need no man. I can do bad on my own. But then they need the man to, if you look at the politics, the majority of the politics are male. All right, it's coming from the U.S. government. It's coming from men. Okay, that money is coming from men. And then the child support, well, no brainer there. It's coming from men. Okay, but they, and then the other thing is they raise up their children like this, and you're not saying this, but they're also raising them up to think that, ninjas ain't shit, these men ain't shit, fuck these men, this and that, and she's instilling in them a negative attitude. Okay, she's instilling in them a wicked mindset, and you saw what she was doing in the middle of traffic. All right, she was pulling her shirt up and showing her ass. Now, who even knows if she was wearing panties? Really, that video alone should be enough to get her on indecent exposure. Okay, that video should be enough to get her on indecent exposure. Okay. It says indecent exposure is the intentional and public display of private body parts such as the genitals or buttocks in a manner that violates community standards and is likely to offend or alarm others. So it says the exposure must be deliberate or reckless, not accidental, and that's what she did. All right. It says body parts typically applies to genitalia, anuses, in some jurisdiction, female breasts or buttocks. So, that's that what she did was, against Esau's laws. Okay. So regardless of if you agree with what she's teaching her kids or not, another law that she was breaking is not having a seatbelt on. So you're teaching, basically what she's teaching her children, with shaking her ass and showing her ass, and that ratchet ass bitch probably ain't wearing no panties, so showing her fucking kitty cat and her asshole to a bunch of people, and her ass was weirdly misshapen. It probably was a BBL because it doesn't fit the size of her body. She's like really, really skinny, and then she's got this wide ass. It didn't even look natural. And then on top of that, she's doing that. She's teaching the children to be like that and not wearing seatbelts. What she's doing is she's instilling upon them recklessness. All right, recklessness. She's instilling recklessness into them, not spiritual, things, not righteousness, but recklessness. All right, being a demoniac. All right, let's look at that.
Demoniac.
All right, someone being possessed, influenced by, or the characteristic of a demon, often implying wild, frenzied, or fiendish behavior. So, and that's what she is. She's turning them into a demoniac. All right, basically one who has the characteristics of a demon, and they do. All right, like you always see them, sticking their tongues out. That's representative of the false. Any goddess is false. But of course, there's no goddesses. Only gods many, lords many. But there's only one Yahweh and one Yahweh Shai. There's no goddesses at all. But if you look at goddess Kali, it's a Hindu deity, and she's always got her tongue out. All right, and it's really representative of. You see all these men's head and all that. Really, it's the goddess. It's really representative of sexual promiscuity, and on top of sexual promiscuity, really feminism. If you really want to get down to what the image really represents, it says. Let's see. It says the lolling red tongue. She's often showed biting her tongue in a sudden astonishment or modesty after accidentally stepping on her consort, Lord Shiva. It's not even that. It's she's a destroyer of evil. That's bullshit. Yeah, you see the tongue. All right, it's a manifestation of those demons. A lot of people have the wrong idea about demons, but no, they manifest. That's why these people end up all fucking looking the same. They look the same, they're acting the same. That's because really it says, look, a person who appears to be possessed by an evil spirit. Well, it's not just that they appear to be possessed by an evil spirit. These motherfuckers are possessed. So let's get Proverbs 22 and 6, because that's exactly what's happening. What's the opposite of we're seeing the opposite of Proverbs 22 and 6, which reads, train up a child in the way he should go, or she. It says, and when he or she is old, he will not depart from it. Okay, so big thing here. This is dealing with raising your kids properly. Okay, kids is what they say in this society, because they view them as kids, a sacrificial goat or lamb, but it's really a child. All right, so when children are very impressionable. Okay, children's brains actually are or how I should say is the brain has the most plasticity. All right, when a child is young, and as you get older and older and older, you lose plasticity. Okay, now when you lose, what is plasticity of the brain? Plasticity is something that's going to allow you to retain more information. It's going to make you more impressionable. You learn a lot of information and you retain that information. As you get older, your brain loses plasticity. You don't learn things as fast, or you might be a little bit slower on the wit, slower to remember things. For example, explain brain plasticity like I'm 5, or like I'm 8, or like I'm 10, right? We don't have to go full juvenile, fully to the levels of the toddler levels. It says brain plasticity or neuroplasticity is your brain's awesome superpower to grow or change, grow, and rewire itself like wet clay or stretchy rubber whenever you learn something new or practice a skill. How your brain grows. Tiny helpers. Your brain has billions of tiny cells called neurons. They talk to each other using little electrical sparks. Making a path. When you do something once, the spark makes a weak path. It's like walking through tall grass in a park, wearing it down. When you practice over and over, like playing a video game or riding a bike, you wear down a clear path in the grass. Superhighways. Soon that path turns into a fast, smooth superhighway. The action becomes super easy and automatic. Why it's so cool. Learning tricks. Every time you master a new math, rule, song, or sport, your brain physically reshapes its connections to get better at it. Fixing issues. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to call it a boo-boo. That's just stupid. It says the brain gets hurt. Other parts can step up and learn to do their job instead. So, what differs from ages 1 through 5, 6 through 11, 12 through, what is it? We'll just do 12 through 18. Okay, we'll ask here. So it says, as you grow up, your brain's superpower changes how it works. When you were little, your brain is soft, like wet clay that is easy to shape. See, there you go back. See, before any of the science went down, the Bible had it. Okay, that's because all science really is based upon things that the Bible has already discovered, or some bullshit. All right, that's the only two things that science can do. It's either based upon things that the Bible already had in it to some capacity, or just some random bullshit. All right, that's really made up. All right, or I will give their one more, because it might not necessarily be in the Bible, but it was known at the time. All right, things from just general observations. Right, general observations. So with the whole, when you're younger, your brain is easier to mold. Well, Proverbs 22:6 is like that for a reason. Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Like it said, every time you learn something or have something repeat that you learn, it wears it down and it makes it like a smooth road that can be traveled frequently. So it's basically essentially burnt and baked into you. Okay, it's dug into you. It's carved into you. Okay, it's carved into your brain. But when you have the opposite of Proverbs 22:6, all right, or Proverbs 22:6 in a negative light, really Proverbs 22 in verse 6 is talking about doing it in a right way, training them, scripturally or biblically, as according to the will of Yahweh Shemel Shai. But if you were to do it on the left-hand side and you were to train them up in a wicked light, again, when he is old, he's not going to depart from it. Or in this case, she's not going to depart from it. Why? Because that is burnt into their brains. You burnt it into their brains. You essentially made a superhighway for endubism. Okay, and that's what they see from you. That's what they see from their grandmother. That's what they see from their great-grandmother. Or that's what they see from their siblings, and that's what they're going to see, because being like that, they're going to make friends with the other N-dubs, okay, because they're going to be situating themselves around them. And with that, you're going to have just a whole cycle of N-dubism, and it's done. It's through. All right, these children aren't gonna, like the guy said. He said these children were already screwed up. All right, they had no chance. Now with a mother like this, they had no chance at all. Okay, so let me mark off Proverbs 22 and 6. And that's where we'll jump over to Ecclesiastes 25 and 19, because I had it up. It says, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. And when I got this, it actually popped up in the little search bar as I was searching it, because we get it that often. And you see it, man. This is it's a very special wickedness of a woman, man. That's I don't even know. Why would you even want your kids to be like this? What benefit is there? There's no benefits. I wouldn't want to have little badass kids like this that makes it harder for me to raise them. I wouldn't want that. And I wouldn't want them going around and getting involved in the type of shit that comes with this behavior. But, that's what a black woman's job is in this world, is just to destroy, right? And I'm not talking about the decent and order sisters. I'm talking about the black. Mind you, black means void of light. Okay, now we don't use that term for ourselves, all right, whether we be, so-called black or not. There were so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. So some of us wouldn't be classified as black no-how, all right, such as myself. I wouldn't be classified as black or black-looking or black-passing, none of it. But our people in general, Hebrew Israelites, or Israelites as we are, none of us are black. Okay, not even the people that are so-called black, all right, that have that covering cast on them to be called as black, because black means void of light, all right. As children of Yahweh Shemiah Shai, and Lord willing, hopeful of being of the elect, we are not black. We are not void of light. We are filled with light. Okay, we're white. Okay, we are white. Okay, that's the thing. Esau took white when his skin's not white. He's red, so he's not white either. But he took that. He took white. And he said, I'm white, you're black. Because white means, holy, true, pure, all right, filled with light. And they gave our people black, all right, which is void of light, darkness, all right, indicative of darkness and demons and evil and wickedness, right? And I mean, in this state, a lot of our people are black, all right? They are in that low vibrational state, which is really an Edomite-like state. If you really want to get down to it, it's an Edomite-like state, because who did they learn that from? All of our people learned this from going around heathens. And it's been that way for a very, very, very long time. There's even accounts in the Bible of our people going around the heathens and warning not to go around the heathens, and warning not to go around the people still heathens. That the Lord, sent us these lands to conquer, and now we're getting friendly with the inhabitants, going around them, learning their gods. I mean, it was already happening with in Egypt, all right. And when our people were let out during the Exodus, they went right back to worshiping heathen idols. They were building up a bowl, and which is just, it's completely ridiculous, man. And our people are destroyed, man. Our people are destroyed. Like the scripture says, our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, and they don't want knowledge. They don't want anything about it. They don't want to hear about it. This is the state that they want to be in. And these type of women are going to grow up, and if they don't even have time to grow up, but they're done, man. They're done. They're through. These are going to be the same people. They're just mini N-dubs in training. They're going to grow up, if they were to grow up, to be just like their mom. They're going to have make bad choices, all right, with the worst men possible. They're going to get with scammers and drug dealers and gangbangers and shooters and people that are involved in horrible shit. And there's, they're going to have two options. They're either going to get fucked and fleet on, all right, and they're going to be a single mother, all right, at a very young age, and they're going to live off the system and be just like their mom and be all this rap shit that their mom was like, or they're going to be involved with someone who's in some real bad shit, and they're going to get clapped up, right, and be dead at a very young age. Those are the two options. There's not many other options. Or there's a third one. It's very, very, very rare, but they might realize I'll give a fourth one too, but the third one is very, very rare. They realize that all this shit's fucked up, and their mom was fucked up with how they were raised, and they just said, I'm not going to be like this. I don't, that's a very rare one. The fourth one is that they, find out about the truth and repent and turn from how basically their upbringing. But that's, again, each one of those becomes increasingly more rare that it happens. More than likely, if these individuals were to grow up, we don't have a whole lot of time now, but if they were to grow up, they would just be the same people, just like their mom, shaking ass in traffic, and it's horrible. You'll have people that try to ignore it by saying, "Oh, why are you talking about children like that?" I'm not talking about children like that. I'm not talking about them shaking ass or doing that. I'm talking about that it's pattern recognition. Okay, when you have a grandmother like that, and when your mother's like that, and then you're like this already at a young age, what do you think that's going to grow into? What do you think that's going to grow into? You don't think they're going to be doing the same thing their mom did? It's not about sexualizing children. The fact of the matter is, if their mom's shaking ass in traffic, they're probably going to be doing it too when they're older. I don't want to even say hopefully when they're older, because they shouldn't be doing it when they're older, but they definitely don't need to be doing it now. But hell, who even fucking knows at this point, man? This place is so upside down and twisted, and the black woman is just destroying her family, man. Just destroying her family. And so, yeah, let's see what some of these comments say. It says, I hate everything about this. I like it. It says, she's setting up her daughters to be future statistics. Absolutely. All right, same thing. It says, imagine what the teachers have to go through. A nightmare.
I just wanted to point out that...
Hey, don't.
Let's see. It says, the saying, there's always someone bigger and badder than you. Those little girls are going to learn the lesson the hard way. Yeah, really, they needed to get the shit kicked out of them. All right? And that's one of their only hopes. That's another one of their hopes, is that they get the shit kicked out of them and they learn, like, oh, I'm not going to be like that anymore, because when I'm like that, these other girls beat the shit out of me. Again, there's not a good solution. Okay? It's not like, Captain Save-A-Ho's gonna, come in and be like, oh, step aside, girl. I'm gonna raise your girls for you. I'm gonna raise your children for you, and I'm gonna raise them up in the right way. No, that's not happening. Okay, that's not happening. And these are the same children that they're allowed to do whatever they want. All right, like the lady was saying, they don't want to wear a seatbelt. They listen to post-shites. They want to be gangsters. Well, they don't need to be fucking gangsters. All right, I don't care if you're 4 or if you're 40. You don't need to be no fucking gangster. All right, no gang banging ass thug. You don't need to be it. Okay, and because you know what happens, the gangsters and gang banging ass thugs, they die, man. They die. That's what happens. They die. Every single one of them. Now, if that's the life you want to live, then go ahead and live it. All right, but congratulations, you've just grown up to be another statistic. Let's get Proverbs 29-15, and I saw it with my cousin. My cousin was so-called black. All right, he was mixed. Okay, his dad was a Jake, so-called black guy, but his mom was, we don't know. We don't even know what that side of the family is. They could be Edomites. They could be Native American. It's hard to tell because it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. We don't really know what they are because they're all dark complected. They all got dark hair. It could be Native American. They could be regular white people. I have no idea. All right, those are my dad's half brothers. All right, same mom, different dad, so completely different bloodline. But we don't know necessarily what they are. But my cousin, all right, his name was Skylar. He died like last month or earlier this month. Was like that. All right, his mom she wasn't an NW, but if she was a Jake, who knows? She could be. All right, or she could just a Jake woman in general. Because Latino mothers aren't so great either. All right, don't think you got off the fucking hook, because you're not good either. All right, you're up partying and fucking drinking and shit, having your kids falling asleep on the goddamn kitchen table. It's stupid. All right, it's the same shit. All Jake has fucking issues. Even the Native American mothers have the same shit going on. All right, because they act just like the Latino mothers. So it's all, don't think you got off fucking scot free, because you didn't. Okay, but from a very young age, all right, my cousin, his mom would just let him do whatever. If you wanted to watch a horror movie at 2, go ahead. You want to play violent video games at the age of 2, go ahead. You want to listen to Kanye West at a young age, go ahead. You want to listen to NWA at 4 years old, 6 years old, go ahead, right? There's no rules. He didn't have any, any things, set that he couldn't do. He was allowed to walk around the neighborhoods at, not 5, but like 7 years old, 6, 7, 8 years old, just walking around neighborhoods, not, having a curfew, just coming home, whatever. She was, smoking pot in the living room in front of him and all that stuff. And just, and he ended up getting, and that side of the family's into drugs as it is, with fucking heroin, meth, fentanyl, all sorts of different type of shit. A lot of weed smoking as well, but that they're more, they do that, but they also do more so a lot of hard drugs. And being that he was raised around that, with a mother like that, and he wasn't trained up right in the way that he should go, according to Proverbs 22:6, and he was just allowed to do whatever he wanted, all right, and never had any repercussions. That was baked into him, and as he got older, he was a meth head, got on fentanyl. He ended up dying at a bus stop. What's happened. He overdosed at a bus stop in Denver, Colorado. All right, or not Denver, but somewhere outside of Denver. Just overdosed and died, right there at a bus stop. So that's it, man. What do you that's what happened. So, and that's where were we? I typed in 15 or 16. This is okay. Proverbs 29:15. It says the rod, that's that's really a switch, all right, or a stick, all right, or a belt or whatever it is that you're whooping your kid's ass with. It says the rod and reproof is correction, right? Give wisdom, okay? So an ass whooping, all right, in a modern sense, an ass whooping and correction, all right, is what gives wisdom, okay? Because you go, oh, I was wrong, and then other thing is when you whoop your children. All right. Now my dad didn't do this too much, but my wife mentioned, her dad would always do it. When you would get whooped, he would let you know why. He would let her know why she got whooped. My dad, he'd usually just get mad, and I'm not gonna dishonor my father, but there's a lot of whoopings that weren't necessarily justified. There was whoopings that just happened because my mom, was mad and just wanted it to happen. And he's apologized for that, so I'm not gonna dishonor him for it. He knows that it was not the greatest situation, but that's another thing with these women out here. You got to be careful, because the whole time a lot of time I put the blame, and some of the blame is still on my dad, because you can't use the Nuremberg defense, right? The Nuremberg defense is like, oh, that we were just following orders. Well, because at the end of the day, as a man, sometimes you have to, women are gonna say, oh, you need to beat your kid for what? Well, he didn't want to sit down. Well, what do you mean he didn't want to sit down? Did you let him go play outside? I don't want him to play outside. Would you let him play? I don't want him to play in here. I just wanted him to sit and not move. Or not that necessarily happened, but stuff like that. There was times that things like that happen, and my dad whooped me anyway, just because he didn't want to argue with my mom. But also, I have to understand my dad's point of view that you just get off of work, working all day, sometimes 12-hour shifts. You don't want to sit here and argue with a woman that's already known to be argumentative, right? Not to dishonor my mother, but that's a situation that he was going through. So, but you should really, so sometimes I believe he did tell me, I whooped your ass because of this, but a lot of time I don't remember none of that. I just remember getting my ass whooped and being sent to my room. But that's what you should do, all right? You should tell them why they're being whooped, all right? Because that's a correction. You say, hey, I'm doing this because of this, all right? You don't do it again, you're gonna your ass whooped again, all right? But it says, the rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame. So let's break this down. It says, to discipline a child produces wisdom, but a mother is disgraced by an undisciplined child. Father as well, because it makes it look like there's a whole bad chain of command. All right, it seems like your wife's not doing her job being a mother. All right, while you're out doing your job as providing for a family, she's not doing her job as a mother, and you just got these badass kids running around. It makes you look bad. All right, it makes you look bad. It's a chain of badness. All right, But the NRSVU says, a rod and reproof give wisdom, but a mother is disgraced by a neglected child. Yep. Amp Bible. And for example, Skylar, my cousin, he, disgrace was always brought on his mom because of him. Oh, you're letting him do this. He's running around. He's stealing. He's, hitting people's kids. He's doing this. But she was proud of him. Don't talk about my kid. Fuck you. And would try to fight people and shit because she was just a fucking. She still is. She's just a trashy bitch. Her herself is a fucking prostitute. So just ridiculous. Was a stripper, but now she's graduated into a prostitute. So good for her. Amp Bible says the rod and reproof, godly instruction, give wisdom, but a child who gets his own way brings shame to his mother. So there you go. And that's what these they're doing. There's a whole, like I said, a whole chain of command of shame, really as well. And it's gonna bring, if the father's in the picture, most of the case it's not. But it'll bring shame to the mother. It's just shameful all around. But a lot of these women don't have any shame. They don't have any shame. They don't care. They think their shit don't stink. All right. They think when they fart, it smells like fucking roses. All right. It's like that Outcast song. Girl, I know you think that your shit don't stink. It says your don't really smell like, your roses really smell like doo poo 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 poo. All right. Deuteronomy 6:6 or 7, it says, and these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them. So these, the laws, and the ordinance, laws, statutes, commandments, and the way, the will of Yahweh Bashmiao Shai, and the way he wants us to be should be instilled within a child. It says, shall be in thine heart. It says, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. Okay? There you go. So, right here, the NLT says, and you must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands that I am giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you're at home, and when you're on the road, and when you're going to bed, and when you're getting up, right? So that's how it should be, all right? Because it teaches the children, okay? The NRSVU says, keep these words that I'm commanding you today in your heart. Recite them to your children and talk about them when you're at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you rise. So, but they don't do that, really, because the Lord's not in the house anymore, all right? A lot of these black women are on this newfangled bullshit. They think that, I guess it's not too new, but they think that the Bible's a white man's book. All right, that's the end of. There's a lady at my job, and she said, and that's another man's book. All right, well, all right, you're right. It's not for you. All right, and it is for men. It's primarily for the prophets. It's not for your dullard ass, Negro knuckle dragging ass, fucking, box braid wearing ass, hoe ass, to be, from LA being ass to be thumbing through. All right, it's not the Bible's made for the prophets to be able to teach. It's not meant for some dullard ass knuckle dragging Negro, all right, that I'm from LA, right? To be, having any dealings with. All right, really, you should be taught from it, but a woman like that's not going to be taught, again, because she has that reverse Proverbs 22:6. All right, her mother raised her up wrong, okay, because he grew up in that bullshit. Okay, Proverbs 20:7, and then we're going to close out. Let me mark it off. It reads, the just man walk, and this is why you need a man, and a righteous man, all right, in your life and your children's life. It says, the just man, the righteous man, walketh in his integrity. His children are blessed after him. Check the NLT. It says, the godly walk with integrity. Blessed are their children who follow them. And they're going to follow them because, again, Proverbs 22:6. They were raised up right. Okay, and Deuteronomy 6:6-7, right? They were taught, all right. Those things, they were taught to them daily, all right. Whenever, in all things they were taught. But a neglected child, they're going into Proverbs 29:15. They're just going to bring shame because they're not going to Nothing's going on there. They don't really know anything. They're not well instructed. So the NRSVU, it says the righteous walk in integrity. Happy are the children who follow them. AMP, it says the righteous man who walks in integrity and lives life in accord with his godly beliefs. How blessed, happy, and spiritually secure are his children after him who have his example to follow. So that's why you really need a righteous man in the house, all right? Because it's going to be not only the children, really, it's the women are likened to the children, okay? They're not literally his children, but they're kind of like his children too, right? You got to raise them up. And just like that, like the children says after happy, blessed, happy, and spiritually secure. Well, a woman that has a righteous man is going to be happy, blessed, happy, and spiritually secure. Okay? So, but a lot of them don't, and they don't need a man because they can struggle by themselves. So let them continue to struggle by themselves, man. Just let it happen. But that's going to be the lesson. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say about the video. The video is the video. So, it's horrible shit. Horrible shit. Horrible, despicable, low down, just dirty, just low intellectual, no intellectual, just bullshit. And that's what we have to deal with the 2/3 of the nation Israel in this day and age. It's just fucking ridiculous. And yet another reason why we need to get out of Babylon. But that's where we're gonna I mean, this could really be another edition of one more reason some more reasons why we need to get out of Babylon. What is it? Where was it? Here's some more reasons why Babylon has got to go. I could really put this as a part 2 because I never got to the part 2. All right, and then just put the other one as a part 3 because this is you know what? I'm gonna do that. That's what I'm gonna title this as. It's gonna be this is gonna be number 2 for that. Here's some more reasons why Babylon has got to go because it's a good little mini series, and this is another reason why Babylon has got to go because what the fuck is this, man? It's horrible. But that's where we're gonna close out with it. Lord, what was edifying. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwa. Shalom, dear brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.